don't think there's any one solution. I think this is also, I think it's a good question. It does connect back to what I was saying earlier. Some addictions are more acceptable than other addictions. Like George Orwell says, all animals are equal. Some animals are more equal. The point of view that I would adopt, say, let's use a hypothetical example that someone comes to me in my therapy room and says that this is the problem, that I'm addicted, and the products are designed in such a manner that we get addicted to it. Why does it exist in the first place, or why is it succeeding? Why is there something that is happening within all of us or some of us because of which we are sort of more prone to these sort of addictions? So for instance, being addicted to the gym is not necessarily looked at as an addiction now. It's sort of looked at as a gym rat. It's sort of brownie points again. It's something that I do, it's part of my personality. But there's a possibility that if you're just going to the gym and not focusing on something else, right, that can also be an issue. If someone's just going to the gym, I mean, I don't have anything against people who go to the gym, but the point is just to make it clear to the viewers here. uh, but the point is that anything again that you do in the extreme, and also how society looks at something, right? People looking at going to the gym is more acceptable now, but that can also be an addiction. And again, why is that the case is something that we can think about and have a conversation about. So if people and certain group of people are getting more addicted or getting more used to a particular type of game, or they are gaming that more, can we think and reflect on why that is the case? Firstly, what about the games uh, are so addictive? What are the elements of it that make it so prone to addiction or so prone to being used and overused? That's one. Second thing to think about is that what about these group of people? What do they have in common, or what do they have in difference perhaps, that makes them susceptible to it? Third thing would be, what are some environmental factors that's contributing to it? Some people might belong to violent households, but they don't have any space to express their violence. The only way they can shut down from the violence that's happening in their household is to put a put of earphones, go to BGMI. Now, if you look, and that's what they do, end up for 4 or 5 hours, and you can look at that as an addiction. But aren't we going to look at the violence that's happening inside the household, right? So that is also equally important. We need to look at, again, problems as not problems, but problems as symptoms of a larger issue at play. So many of us, and most of us, we are addicted to something or the other, be it alcohol, be it cigarettes, be it coffee. I mean, because I have a long day today, I've had a long day today. I've drank like 2 cups of coffee, and no one's gonna say something to me. But if the same thing, I was gaming for 3 hours straight, people would be like, "Why are you gaming for so long? Why don't you do something else?" Right? So the point I'm trying to make here is that we need to think and we need to reflect before we come to conclusions, or before we pass judgments, or before we call something as addiction. You see, no one wants to be addicted. No one wants to overuse something. Sometimes we are helpless and we don't have a choice, and that's the only way we know how to survive, or that's the only way we know how to make sense of the world. And that is applicable for many of us. And I think we need to make more space for these conversations where like the 3 points that I made, what about the game, what about the individual differences or similarities of the people, and what about the environmental factor that's sort of contributing to this, give game and gaming more benefit of doubt. See, industries who design games, they want to earn money. They will design something that is addictive, that people want to do, be it microtransactions, be it something else or the other. That's, it's capitalism. That's what they're going to do. But we also need to look at contexts, families, societies, and what about these that contribute them to sort of being, prone to using or overusing games.